Hey, welcome to today's lesson. This is Mr. Vespeller, and your students took home lesson 1.12, so Unit 1, Lesson 12 today. And we're concentrating on both area and multiplying and dividing by 4. So we did the first two. Let's skip to number 3, and it has to do with distributive property, finding the area of a rectangle. Number 3, find the area of the large rectangle by finding the areas of the two small rectangles and then adding them together. So we did this in class on the class activity section. Here, this is a little easier because it's color-coded. So it says find the area of the large rectangle by finding here's the large rectangle here. So find the area, that means how many squares or how many square units are in this large rectangle. And by adding the two smaller rectangles together. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, maybe because one's a bedroom, one's a kitchen, and we're finding the square feet for floor covering, so we have to find the area of two different areas and then adding them together. Or maybe I don't know my 7s, but I do know my 5s, and I do know my 2s. So I multiply 5 times 4, and that's 20. And then I write that down. Green equals 20 square units. And then yellow is 2 times 4 equals 8 square units. And then I add the two together. 20 plus 8 equals 28 square units. The second part is just find the large rectangle. And that's done by multiplying the number of columns or the number that's in each row, which is 4, multiply it by the number of rows, which is 7. Another way to look at it is width times length, and then make sure you label it in square units. So I had them take this home to refer to for their homework. So find the area of the large rectangle by adding the sum of the two smaller rectangles. So let's shade this one so I could refer to it. The smaller one is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, times 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 times 4 is 20. One more time. So 5 times 4 equals 20 square units. I don't know if it's feet or meters. And then this is 3 times what? There's nothing here. Well, I know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 across. Plus, I could refer to this side, and that's the same side. Same size as the other end. 3 times 4 is 12. They should know their 3s and 4s by now. 12 square units. And then I add the two together. Let's use this area here. So 20 plus 12. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's 32. The answer is 32 square units. Okay, another way to say it is 32 units squared. So you put a little exponent up there. Find the area of the large rectangle by multiplying the number of rows by the number of square units in each row. Number of rows is 8, and there's 4 in each row. 8 times 4 equals 32 square units, or 32 units squared. All right, the back side. Mr. Thomas gives 4 crayons to each of his 8 students. Make sure I'm in the picture here. So we use the cube method. Remember, C is to circle the numbers, underline the question, box the important terms, eliminate unnecessary information, and then solve. So 4 crayons, and then to each of 8 students. So the number of groups is 8, the size of the group is 4. We box each, which means multiply or divide. Underline the question. And then we box, this is important because it tells us what to label it. So when it looks like an equal groups problem, 4 groups of 8. 4 times 8, and you should know your 4s. 4 times 8 equals 32. And we look over here, and we boxed crayons because that is what we're looking for. 32 crayons. He gives out 32. Now, does that make sense? Is that a reasonable answer? Yes. If you were to draw an equal groups, then we said that the number of groups is students. Students is the number of is the group. I asked students, are there 8 students in 4 crayons, or are there 4 crayons in 8 students? So that kind of helps you to see the logic in how to set this up. So 8 students, that's the type of group, that's the number of groups, and then we put 4 in each one. So you could skip count by 4 or just memorize it. We don't have the total. That's what the question is all about. That's the mystery. How many crayons does he give out? So 8 groups of 4, you really should write it like this. 8 groups of 4 equals 32. So 32 is the total. So they want you to draw a rectangle and then to label it and then find the product. There's 2, a number to 1, 2. There's 2 things they have to do. Make it a rectangle drawing to represent each multiplication. So it looks like 2 times 9. 2 rows of 9. So if there's 9 in each row, I'm going to draw how many lines? I'm going to draw 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's halfway, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 2 rows, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I have 9 in each row. So I can count, this is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Or I can count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 18. Stretch your thinking. Explain. How can you solve 8 times 8 if you know how to multiply with 4, but not how to multiply by 8? Well, that's why we did this right here. If we don't know what 4 times, if I don't know my 8s or my 4s, so we could split it up. So let's see, let's see if I have enough room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's 8, and here's 8. Now I don't know so you do not know how to multiply with 8. So we don't. We haven't multiplied by 8 yet. So I can split this up because I know how to multiply by 4. So I can split it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can split it up. That's 4, and that's 4. If I know my 4s, 4 times 8 is 32. And then this is 8. 4 times 8 is 32. And I can add it up. 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. So the answer is 64. So But you have to explain it. That's the big thing. Explain it. I can make two small squares. They're not rectangles anymore. I can make two small squares of 4. Then I can add them together. Capitalize, put a period. Okay, you don't have to do 4 times 4. You could also maybe do 2 and then 6. So any two combinations that equals 8. You can split up 8 into a 2, and then like I said, a 2 and a 6, 3 and a 5, because 5 is easy. So maybe you can do that. You can divide it, one of them by 3 and the other one into a 5. So, and then you do 3 times 5. So 3 times 8 is 24. And then 5 times 8 is 40. And you add the 2 together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then we get the same answer, 64 square units. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck.